I need to unmute my mic before I do that. Hello, everyone. Let's try this again. I should have cleaned off that sofa. I didn't realize it was in view until I got the big screen up. But anyway, the audio should be there now. I know you guys have all written muted. I think that was a bit delayed. Cool. Good news is, bad camera because I didn't bring my camera with me all the way to Australia this time because I didn't want to bring 2 suitcases. Good news is I did manage to bring my microphone. So after subjecting you to terrible audio 2 weeks ago with a nice camera, I've decided to now submit you to bad video but good audio at least. So yeah, there's pluses and minuses to all of this. But yeah, I wasn't going to bring my camera setup and tripods and stuff all the way to Australia just for one show. I'm sorry, guys. It's a bit much. Where are we? First of all, up there somewhere. Go hit the shop. We've just restocked, I think, two of the complexity shirts, the USA shirt and I guess the normal shirt. I don't know what they call them. But head over to shop.col.gg or scan the QR code, and you can get. I think this one's still available as well. This is one of my favorites because it's not black. I like not black things, just because all my shirts are black otherwise, and it's a bit much. Yeah, it's been a while. I was actually just trying to look up exactly when the last show was. I know it was during Bucharest. I just can't remember whether it was in the middle of the group stage or if we just beaten Aurora. Does anyone remember which day it was that we did the last show? It must have been the 10th. So we were already qualified, it looks like. It looks like it was the day after or the day of beating phase, I think. Yeah, it looks like it was the day after we beat phase. So we must have been in the playoffs at that point. We must have had a day off. So yeah, obviously it's been a while since we did the show, because last week we were mid MRQ, mid qualifier for the major. So I didn't do a stream then because during one of our matches would have been a bit weird. So I just joined on Darth Mike's stream for a while. Yeah. So what happened first? We obviously were still in Bucharest. I think we covered that in the last show, how well we were doing and how pleased we were with the performance we were having. And obviously after that, we then we beat Aurora in the quarterfinals. So we made it to the semifinals and got ourselves a rematch against G2. I mean, I should also touch on the fact that we beat Aurora in the quarterfinals, which is really cool. Not an easy team to beat on any day, and obviously we played them back in Katowice, I think it was, and we lost to them. So nice to get a bit of revenge there. And they're this year a genuine sort of top 6-7 team, qualified for every playoffs they've attended. So we're happy to get a winner or a team like that, especially in playoffs. I think the only thing that puts a bit of a dampener on it was obviously that it wasn't like an arena. The top 8 of that event was just back in the group stage kind of zone. I know for the semifinals at least, they turned it into sort of a more of a stage kind of setup, but it was still no audience or anything like that. So it was good to get the win and play against top quality teams. I mean, our run there, we beat Falcons, we beat Furia, we beat FaZe, we beat Aurora, and then obviously we lost to G2 twice and lost to FaZe in the 3rd place playoff. So still very, very good run for us and a very valuable run for us in terms of the VRS points. So can't complain about anything there. I can go quickly over the matches again. I've sort of forgotten what those matches were. I know the rematch against G2 wasn't quite as close as the first time we played them, because we went to 3 maps the first time. I think we went 0-2 the second time. Tough to play against teams that can ban train against us for sure, but we have to be accounting for that. Yeah, we lost Anubis 8-13, we lost Dust 2 9-13, and then 10-13 versus FaZe, 11-13 versus FaZe. So two very good teams. So we're not completely upset about losing to teams of world-class players, but we'd love to be beating them as well. So I think the phase game could definitely have gone both ways. I think we definitely felt a little bit outclassed against G2. The players they have, were really kind of heavy hitting guys. Like Malves had a great game. Monazy obviously had an incredible game. So, we're definitely not upset with how we played. I think we were still playing quite well back then. We just got a bit outclassed against G2. But I think the phase game, we definitely felt like we could have gotten more from that. But hey, we still massively overachieved, I think, compared to everyone's expectations going into that event. So I think we'll take the wins as we can. So it's it's been a good week there, and then obviously I can try and run you through our travel schedule. So we played. We played FaZe on the 13th of April in Bucharest. Everyone travelled back to North America on the 14th of April. And I think three or four of the guys, definitely three, I can't remember I think one of them changed their flights, they arrived home a bit earlier. But certainly three of the guys landed back home at around about 11 p.m. Central Time on the 14th, and then they had to take an Uber or whatever it was to their house, or in JT and Halzek's case a hotel where their PCs were. JT and Halzek had to do like a full setup. It was fresh PCs from a boot camp, so they had to like full setup, download the anti-cheat, sort out the TeamSpeak, make sure the game was set up the configs, everything like that, and then they went to sleep. So they went to sleep about like 1 a.m. or like 1:30, depending on how long it took them to get back to their house. And then we played the first match against Getting Info at 11 a.m. So they basically traveled all day, did a minus 7 hour time zone shift, and then basically went straight into playing a match after a bit of rough sleep. So yeah, I mean the MRQ results were a lot closer than perhaps people may have expected, and I think that's pretty much the sole reason why, was just we were just completely sort of out on our feet, if that makes sense. But we got the job done, which is all we can really ask of the guys. We knew the schedule was going to be tough. But we have to give ourselves every opportunity to succeed, and we have to believe that we can, even on our not so good days, we can still go out and be the best in North America, which I think we are still. So it's it was definitely a bit of a risk, but it was a risk that we felt like was worth taking. The world doesn't revolve around just one qualifier for the major. I think Gamer Legion are a great example of that. We'll get to Melbourne soon, but Gamer Legion, a team that didn't make it through the MRQ in Europe, but are now showing in Melbourne that they are clearly a better team than that suggests, and they will continue to receive invites based off the performances they have here in Melbourne, irrespective of whether they qualified for the major or not. So life doesn't solely revolve around the major. Obviously, the financial incentives around qualifying for the major are the biggest and most talked about aspect of qualifying for the major, I think, for most teams at least. Obviously, there are teams that go there to win it every single time. There are a lot of teams who go there just to qualify, and I think there's probably more teams than not are the ones who are just happy to have qualified, and that is a bit of an unfortunate situation, really. I think the major should be, every team who goes to the major should feel like they have a genuine shot of winning it. But I think when you expand it to 32 teams, a lot of the teams are just happy to get the money, really. So it is what it is. I think the money is obviously valuable to the ecosystem, so it's not like it's a bad thing. But yeah, it's definitely perhaps a bit of a reverse kind of incentive method, if that makes sense. But yeah, well, we can cover the MRQ quickly now. I'll share my screen. Does it show? No, it doesn't. Good. Let's go then. Go. So yeah, the MRQ, obviously, yeah, complexity Wildcard, NRG were the three teams that qualified. We played our group, and yeah, we went undefeated technically, but yeah, obviously this went to 24 rounds. Was a pretty big comeback from us. This went to a lot more than 24 rounds. 36 rounds is that? Yeah, this was quite a bad game from us actually. This Anubis, I think we were 11-6 up when we were on T side of Anubis, and yeah, the fact that we let that get through to OT was yeah, a bit upsetting really. Like we shouldn't be doing things like that, but I think yeah, it's acceptable to some degree given the circumstances we played under. And I mean, getting info are good. Like they're by no means a bad team. You know, they gave Energy a pretty big run for their money. I think they could have actually quite easily have won this game as well. You know, Energy obviously ended up winning the third slot. So I think getting info are a good team. They may be like one change away from being sort of at the top of NA. I wonder whether they could pick up some players from some of sort of like these kind of teams or this team and get that team to like a level where they're competing sort of up here with these guys. But they're definitely not a bad team by any means. So yeah, they gave us a good game, and then yeah, we played Blue Jays, which was yeah, again, you had to go to OT on Ancient. I don't know what it is about this Blue Jays team. It's not necessarily the Blue Jays team, because obviously in the past they were boss, and they had Cryptic from Nouns as the IGL, and now they've got who is it? Is it Snav? Hold on a second. I think it's Snav. Yes, Snav is the IGL, right? But it's still Fruit Cup, Slight, and Freshy. Like still like the main core of boss. And this team famously gave us some trouble in both the RMRs for, I want to say Paris and Shanghai from memory. Like I'm sure it's in here somewhere. Where is it? Somewhere here, yeah. So this one went to OT, and oh, I've scrolled quite a way on it. And this one was close as well. This is Copenhagen, because Copenhagen and Shanghai are both the events last year. So yeah, first of all, this one was very close. We ended up what was it? Yeah, 13-10. I remember. Oh no, this was 16-12. This one was really close. This one was a pretty big comeback from us actually in the end. I think maybe we could have converted it. Yeah, we won OT quite well, and then this one was, if I recall correctly, Holzerk won a 1v4. I think this round was a 1v4, this one here, to make it 13-10. Otherwise it could have easily been a 13-11 or OT, I think, if we didn't win this round in with the 1v4. So yeah, the Blue Jays guys are definitely not a bad team, and yeah, a team that's given us close games in the past. So I think we knew that was going to be a bit of a tough one. Obviously we did get to pick Train at least, which gives us a bit of an advantage. So yeah, Ancient was close, and then Train was in the end pretty comfortable. We got 6 rounds on T side, and then you can see our CT side was very comfortable, as it generally is. So yeah, I guess it's not too surprising, I think, that Energy finally qualified for something. Obviously, you take MAT, Liquid out of the equation. These probably are the 3 teams that should be qualifying. I know there was some controversy, I guess, on Wildcard. Should they or should they not have been in this qualifier to begin with? And I think there's a lot of ways you can think about this. I think, if you go by the letter of the rules, the real answer is they shouldn't have been in this qualifier. They should have been in the European qualifier, and the loophole they used shouldn't exist. So, did they break the rules? No. Did they abuse a massive loophole in the rules that I know Valve were aware of? Yes. Do I think that they should have played the EU MRQ? No. So I'm sort of on both sides with this. So in wildcard specific situation, because they are two European players and because they are two Americas players, and they have one what they consider Asian but African player who is not part of either of the other two major regions. They are eligible to receive invites from European events as well as America's events and obviously global events. Now, if they had taken advantage of that and had gone and played European events, I'm not including this one because this one shouldn't have even been ranked, but I'm not including this one because they didn't get invited to this via VRS, so that doesn't count. Wildcard didn't actually take advantage of any aspect of the European ranking. They definitely had invites to go and play European like CCTs and things like that. They didn't attend a single one. So I think for me, the fact that they did that means that they get a bit of a free pass because they gained no benefit from being a part of those that European ranking. Like every single event they played was from a global ranking or was purely from North American invites. So yeah, I think for me it's one of those things that they let's switch those over. They definitely abuse the loophole, and I think that is theoretically wrong, but you could argue that because they got no benefit from actually being ranked as a European team despite having European ranking does give them a bit of an out in this regard, and maybe there should be some more sort of structured way to determine a team's region, because if a team has a roster like this but they live in North America and they play in North America and they don't ever compete in Europe and they don't accept European invites, then you could make an argument that they are not a European team. On the other hand, you can say they have two European players, they are a European team. So I think it's something that Valve need to close up a bit more on the rulings. Either close the loophole and either you are a 2-2-1 team that is European, or they need to take into account and basically say like, hey, for the next 6 months, from the end of the Austin major until the start of the next major, or to the end of the next major, you have to decide whether you can accept European invites or North American invites, but it cannot be both, and you can only accept one. And I think that would just close up all the loopholes for this team, and also Liquid are the other team. There's only two teams that are realistically affected by this, and it's Liquid and Wildcard. Technically, we could be affected by it if we wanted to be. If we added a European instead of one of the US guys, we would be in the same position as they are. But yeah, that's obviously not in our plans right now. But yeah, technically we could put ourselves in that position, but it's not something we're looking to do. So yeah, right now it only affects two teams. So I think they just have to either close the loophole so that you can't change your roster region with a single match and then revert back to your original roster once you've received an invite. I think that's a bit fucked up, but I don't think that Wildcard especially abused the rules to gain an outcome that was unfair relevant to the season they had. So for me it's fine, but I don't like the fact that people have to use loopholes to essentially circumvent the rules. The rules should be there for a reason and they should be upheld. So I don't like the fact that they use the loophole to get out of it, but I don't disagree with their principle of the fact that at least they are a North American team and they gain no benefit from at least the European ranking. You could argue that building a roster that sort of circumvents the ranking is potentially egregious enough that you should be European, but that's I don't know, that's a philosophical thing that I don't really need to get into. So yeah, congrats to Wildcard and congrats to energy for qualifying. I know Wildcard were obviously extremely, the lengths they went to qualify in North America. They're obviously extremely happy to qualify, and I know the NRG guys obviously they've had a rough kind of year and a bit of trying to qualify for some of these events. So good for them to sort of finally qualify for one that isn't Pro League via ECL. So that's great for them, and we will see them at the first stage of the major, which I guess we can bring that up now quickly and just have a look at it. We don't know exactly which teams will face which in the first stage. I don't think Blast have confirmed exactly which ranking it will use, but from what I can tell, we will be the number 1 seed going into stage 1, because I don't think any team can catch us realistically from the events that are coming up. But there's lots of teams who are very closely ranked at the moment who can all flip and change their rankings. So there will definitely be some seeding changes between now and what I assume to be the final seeding date, which will be the 5th of May. So a little under 2 weeks time. But if they locked in the rankings right now, I believe we would play Lin Vision. But yeah, as I said, I think the points between some of these teams is like 10 points. So there's tons of events coming up with a lot of the teams that are playing. A lot of these teams that are playing some upcoming events. I've got a list somewhere. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the list. So yeah, Melbourne was us and FlyQuest. FlyQuest gained a lot of points from their win over. Oh, who did they beat? Chat, remind me, who did FlyQuest beat? Like yesterday, or the day before that? It was someone big, right? Like relatively big. I know they gained like 115 points from it. Virtus Pro. They beat Virtus Pro. So they gained a lot of points in from that match, which massively jumps them up the ranking, I think. So they will be actually they could be within our range now. They were ranked 40. Lin Vision were 32, and then Imperial and Nemiga were in between us. So maybe FlyQuest are close to actually getting a first round matchup against us, which, I mean, that's how we opened the major last time, and it went very badly for us. So, oh no, FlyQuest are now ranked 23, so they've actually shifted everyone down. They've gone from what? They've gone from 12th seed to 3rd seed in one match. That is impressive. Wow, that is something. So yeah, they've completely shifted all the seeds around now, so that will be very interesting for the seeding. And yeah, so Melbourne had us and FlyQuest. Blast Rivals, which happens next week in Copenhagen, has Wildcard and FlyQuest. Then there's the CCT Global Finals, which has Wildcard, Imperial, B8, Heroic, and BetBoom. So that's going to be a big shift in a lot of the seeds. And then there's Mesa. The Mesa Season 5 or whatever it is, Season 4, which has B8, Heroic, Tyloo, and the Chinggis Warriors. And then the Fire League event in Brazil or Argentina has Imperial and Bestia. So there are going to be a lot of seeding changes in the next, because like these guys have got 2 events, these guys have got 1 event, 2 events, 2 events, 1 event, 2 events. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of seeding changes in the next like 10 days. So a bit hard to predict exactly who's going to play who, but I can at least say that it's highly unlikely / almost impossible that anyone takes the number 1 seed away from us, which yeah is very much irrelevant in the current seeding system for the major, because yeah, I mean, whoever the number 9, because number 1 plays number 9, and I mean, you don't know if the number 9 is going to be better than the number 10 or worse than the number 8 or anything like that. So the initial seeding is a little bit random in that sense. Ideally you want to play the strongest team possible that you're confident of beating. because then they can go and win the next matches and hopefully give you a good book halts for the upcoming matches. But even then, you don't know if having a good book halts is good for you or bad for you, depending on who else wins or loses their matches. So it's essentially a little bit random. And yeah, Spider Monkey, I'll just throw this up here. Why does 1 play 9 and not 16? I can give you a very simple explanation for it. The simple explanation is, if seed 1 plays 16 and then 2 plays 15, 3 plays 14, etc., down to 8 plays 9, which is the middle match, if every single, like if you assume that every single higher seeded team will always win, when you get through to round 5, sorry, the last round, what happens is there's actually no way of qualifying the top 8 seeds because of the matches that have like already happened. For example, like 8 has already played 9, 7 has already played 10, and 6 has already played 11. Because all those matches have already happened in the previous rounds, it's actually impossible to qualify the top 8 seeds in a perfect scenario. Whereas if 1 plays 9 and 2 plays 10 and 3 plays 11, it is possible to do that because you preserve those matches that you need. So that's the reason why they shifted it, and it is a good thing, but it doesn't necessarily make the rest of the tournament look super even, because only the first round is shifted. After that, the rounds go back to normal. So it's sort of a bit of a temporary bodge, and it's not perfect, but as of yet, I haven't had anyone come up with a better solution. So that was the one that people suggested. So yeah, we will see. I think actually the best solution may be ESL's self-seeded system. I think that would probably be one of the best ways to fix it, but it isn't perfect either, and there's still a potential that you get the same outcome. But at least the teams have sort of self-sabotaged in that regard to create it. So yeah, it's not perfect. I don't think there is a perfect solution to all of this, because even if you have a perfect solution, teams will upset and lose and fuck it up anyway. So yes, and it does have the added bonus of making the first round matchups more interesting. I do agree with that. I think it makes all the initial matchups essentially even in seeding, because obviously like 1v16 is the biggest gap, and then getting down to 8 versus 9 is like the really close matches. So having it be like 1v9, 2v10, 3v11, it does mean that the first matches are a lot more even, and in theory they're equally hard for all teams. So yeah, I think it makes the first round more exciting, but it doesn't necessarily make it fairer, but it does try and get the right outcome, and whether getting the right outcome is fair or not is up for debate. But I mean, we saw in Bucharest, obviously, in Bucharest there was a lot of upsets in the first round, and that's probably because the seeding was done 1v9, 2v10, 3v11. If they had done it the other way around, then most likely there would have been less upsets, but some closer matches towards the middle. So yeah, there's definitely no perfect way to do it. I'll just answer this one quickly now while you're here. Miller1117. How long till Complexity's next LAN event? The next LAN event we will play will be the Major. We don't have any more LAN events between now and the Major. At least to our knowledge, we don't. Whether we get some kind of last-minute replacement for Dallas or Astana or something else, I obviously can't tell you. I can tell you right now there's nothing that I know of that we have any chance of getting an invite to. So yeah, the next LAN event we are due to play is the Major, and that will be our last tournament of the season as well. So the season is essentially over for us. We've just got the Major to play, really, which yeah, it feels like it's gone very quickly. But I think that's the new norm in some ways, with the Majors being at the end of the year and obviously building up towards them. And obviously we we missed out on a lot of invites back in February. I want to say February, which caused us to miss quite a few events. And then obviously, yeah, now we managed to get Bucharest by qualifying, and yeah, Melbourne, luckily, as a replacement team. So yeah, the season's gone by very, very quickly. So hopefully we can end it in a good way as well. So where are we at? So that's the first stage of the major, which we obviously qualified for. I mean, we can talk expectations. So the top 8 teams from this stage qualify to stage 2, where we join these teams, and then stage 3. Then the top 8 of stage 2 join stage 3, and then the top 8 of stage 3 go through to the playoffs. So I'd like to say, based on how we're playing right now, we should get through stage 1. I think that's the bare minimum for us. I think we'd obviously like to be going sort of 3-0, maybe 3-1 if we meet a tough team. But yeah, I think general expectations are that we should progress through at least stage 1, and I think after that it gets a lot tougher. As you can see, like some of these teams coming in, Falcons phase, they're a lot stronger than the teams in stage 1. So yeah, I think we'll take it stage by stage, and hopefully, I mean, half the teams from stage 2 are from Americas. So these are teams that we've either beaten a lot in the past or have had very close matches against. We obviously just beat Payne a few days ago. They did have a coach playing for Biguzera, which obviously is a huge loss, and I think DGT will get confirmed in this slot pretty soon, so they'll be a lot better at the major as well. Like, I don't think the match we played against them a few days ago was in any way indicative of how strong Payne are. So yeah, we will see what happens with them once we get to the major and they've got their full roster with them. Yeah, I hope Biguzera is recovering well. I know he had some health issues in Serbia, which is not the place I'd want to have health issues if I was having health issues. So, yeah, hopefully he's doing okay, and he'll be back in Brazil or wherever they're going pretty soon. Yeah, don't really want to go through all the individual teams. I mean, everyone's at the major for a reason, and we will see how we do once we get there. But I'd like to say that we will qualify from this group of teams. I think that would be the bare minimum expectation for us going into this major, and then after that, it is what it is. We will do our best, but getting through some of these teams is never going to be an easy task. And yeah, you can sometimes just get bad seeding and play all the good teams, and your life's over. So it is what it is. Let's have a look. Just to clarify, what's wrong with Serbia? Nothing's wrong with Serbia, but if I'm a Brazilian who speaks Brazilian Portuguese and I'm in Serbia, where the general level of English, in my experience, has not been the best, and you're having medical issues, I just wouldn't want to be in a country that I don't speak the language of, and I'm having medical issues. Like, that to me it sounds bad. Like, at least I'd want to be in like a country that speaks a bit more English in general. But yeah, it's nothing wrong with Serbia. It's more just the language barriers and things like that. Let's have a look. I've got some more questions here. I'll just keep going through them as I can. Are all the matches Beer 3? Are they still doing Beer 1 until progression and elimination? We have not technically been told the format, as far as I'm aware, but assume it will be Beer 1 opening matches until progression and elimination, and then Beer 3. Cool. So what's next? Melbourne. Yeah, so I remember now, actually, when we did the last show, it was after we had found out that we were getting the Melbourne invite, but we couldn't tell you guys. So yeah, we came to Melbourne, which, I mean, I've already written about JT and Holzerk's pretty crazy travel schedule. So I guess I'll try and explain. What exactly the situation there was. Let's bring up a map. Hold on, here we go. So you can see all my little lovely things I've favorited in different countries I've been to. So we were in Bucharest, Romania, and the guys had to get to Monterrey, Mexico, which is where they played the MRQ from. And that obviously happened on that first day where they got there at like 11 p.m. I think they got to the hotel around like 1 o'clock, and then they set up for a bit till 2 a.m. and then they went to bed and they woke up and played the qualifier. Yeah. Anyway, we finished the qualifier day early, and they had to get from Monterrey, Mexico to Melbourne, Australia. And you think that looks pretty easy, right? Just one big old flight. No, that doesn't exist. So there's a few different ways you can do it, and first of all, I'll cover off the main one. You cannot enter the United States on a P1 visa. Holzerk doesn't currently have his P1 visa, so he couldn't enter the United States at all. JT does have a P1 visa and could enter the United States. That wouldn't have been a problem. The issue is you cannot transit in the United States on a P1 visa. You can enter the United States and you can stay there, but you cannot transit. So you can't go from Monterrey to Dallas to Melbourne. That would break his the terms of his visa, and that obviously makes it a bit more problematic because all the good flights were essentially just Monterrey to Dallas, Monterrey to LA, Monterrey to San Francisco, and then direct flights from there to Melbourne, which leaves you with a few different options. So first of all, he's in Monterrey. They're not in Mexico City. So any flight, generally, you'd have to fly from Monterrey to Mexico City to get out of the country in a sort of efficient manner. There are a few options. Weirdly, there is a flight from Monterrey to Tokyo Narita Airport, which is I think somewhere down here. And you can go from Monterrey directly to Tokyo Narita, and then from Japan you can go to Singapore, and then from Singapore you can go to Melbourne. And that trip was, if I recall, longer than the one we took. And just for clarity, ESL was paying for premium economy upgrades for players and coaches. So, and those flights were like all on low cost Asian airlines who didn't offer that kind of comfort, I guess you could say. So that was sort of one option that was not the best option, but could have worked. Another option was to go from Monterrey down to, I think, Santiago or South America, and then in Santiago switch and then fly across to Sydney and then to Melbourne. And that was one that I think was similar in travel distance and time, but there was I think it maybe got us. I think it might have got us to the into Melbourne later than the one we took in the end, which was Monterrey to Madrid, and then they stayed. I think they stayed in Madrid for like 9 hours. So they actually just went. They got a hotel and went and got some sleep, like an airport, like kind of rest area, which obviously was a lot better for them than just sort of waiting around in another airport, which I think was the issue with Santiago or something like that. Was that the layovers were very odd. So they went from Monterrey to Madrid, slept for a few hours in the hotel in Madrid, and then they did Madrid to Dubai, and then they met me in Dubai because I came down from Copenhagen to Dubai, and then we went from Dubai directly to Melbourne, which is the reverse of what we're going to do today. So today we're going to do Melbourne to Dubai, and then Holzerk will go up to Oslo, I'm going to Copenhagen, and Johnny's going to Warsaw. So we're sort of going 1, 2, 3. And yeah, that was a very, I guess you could say, comfortable trip. We flew Emirates, so we had nice premium economy. I think some people may have saw some pictures. We had the whole basically premium economy cabin to ourselves, so that was nice. And we got some good sleep and rest, and yeah, was all good for us. So I don't think we suffered too much from jet lag or anything like that. I think we handled it all quite well in the end. But yeah, I mean, traveling to Australia is no easy feat for anyone. It definitely messes with your brain a little bit. So yeah, we knew it was going to be tough, but I don't think we were too adversely affected by it. We definitely believed that this event was like a bonus for us. We weren't meant to be there, so the fact that we were there and could had the opportunity to play and fight was enough for us, really. Like, we didn't sort of take it too to heart. That it wasn't like we had to win everything. We sort of came here and, like, you get a free swing at your opponents, you take it, right? So yeah, that was that was the travel for JT and Holzerk. Yeah, it was like 47 something hours, but like I said, they did have the opportunity to rest in Madrid for a bit to to recuperate a bit. And yeah, they flew premium economy, I think, or I think they may have upgraded to business class on one or two of their flights as well. I think at least the Madrid to Dubai, I think they upgraded to business class. They may have done Monterrey to Madrid as well. I can't remember. So yeah, we tried to do it in the best way possible and to give them the most comfort. We may have increased travel time by like 4 or 5 hours, but at least they traveled in comfort and were better rested. So I think we did. I think we made the right decision. I know people will be like, "Why did you do this? Why did you do that? You could do it this way." I promise you, we looked at all the options and we did what we thought was best. So yeah, I'll be honest. If we'd had to play the last day of the MRQ, I don't think the guys would have made it in time. We were very lucky that they would have made it in time to play, but they would have missed the media day. They would have made it in time to play, but would have missed the media day. So yeah, very very grateful, I guess, that we made it through to the major straight away, and we didn't have to play the final day, because that definitely saved us some stress for sure. So that was lucky for us. And then yeah, we got to Melbourne, which obviously is ongoing now, so there's a lot of teams that aren't finished. We finished 9th to 12th, which was definitely a fair outcome given how we played. I think that the first game against the Mongols was, yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a shit show, I think, really. Very close game, very close maps in all of them. I think, I mean, this Anubis, you could argue we should never have gotten back into. We really, really dragged ourselves back into this one with a big T half, and yeah, that was very nice for us. Obviously, felt good. And then Ancient, we should definitely never have got back into. But at the same time, we also shouldn't have been 8-0 down. There were some 1v1s in here that we lost. I mean, Mongols won 5 of 7 clutches, which is pretty huge. So it could have easily gone the other way around if some of these clutches don't go their way. Which, at the end of the day, you create your own luck. I think we definitely could have won this map if we'd just been a bit, just won a few more of these rounds where they were sort of like very much like 50-50 things. So yeah, disappointing to lose the Ancient in the end, because that could have easily been a 2-0. And then yeah, Inferno, we brought ourselves back in, and then yeah, just couldn't get it over the line. Started, our T side couldn't quite get it there. I think it was this round that was a 1v1 between Holzerk and, I want to say it was Blitz. I don't know if it was Blitz. It was a 1v1 with someone. Maybe it was Senzu. I can't remember. That could have easily gone our way, and then we would have been 11-10 up, and we could have closed it out. I think this round, I think these 2 rounds we called the exact same strat with like just worse weapons. And the first time when we had the better weapons, 9-10 just hits us like a collat through the smoke or something. We just got a bit unlucky there, really. But yeah, I mean, the Mongols deserve to win. They played well. Like, they should have probably beaten us on the first 2 maps if you take their first half leads into account. The fact that we brought them back was impressive nonetheless. So yeah, losing to the Mongols is never a terrible thing, I guess you could say, because they're a very good team, and they've shown that by making the playoffs. They beat FaZe as well, so it's not completely crazy to lose to a team like that. But I think we definitely had our opportunities to beat them, and I think we probably could have beaten FaZe in the rematch from a week ago. So yeah, it's things like this just don't go your way sometimes. We dropped down and played Pain. Yeah, as I said, they have us obviously with a coach coach subbing in for their IGL, who's arguably their best player as well, and Demo, the academy guy, standing in for, well, what will be DGT as far as I'm aware. Yeah, they were never going to be the strongest opponent on paper, so that was kind of a bit of a formality, really. And then, yeah, Gamer Legion. They figured out how to beat us on train, which no one else has done so far. At least we haven't played all the world's best train teams, but their CT side or our T side on train was tough. Only getting 3 rounds, where usually we're getting sort of 6 or something. So that was a bit of a wake up call that we need to sort of look at our train a bit more and sort of reinvent ourselves a bit, because clearly what we're doing can be figured out. So a bit of a wake up call, but a nice one to have in general. Would have been nice if we won the map regardless, but yeah, a bit of a slow start on train. We put a lot of work into our ancient this week, because we knew we'd have to play it quite a bit, so we put a lot of work into ancient, and thankfully that showed off. But yeah, then nuke was just a disaster. We just couldn't get rolling on nuke at all. Yeah, Gamer Legion thoroughly deserved to beat us, and they did. And happy for them also to go and beat FaZe. They played really well this week, so hopefully they can have some fun in the playoffs to make up for the disappointment of losing in the major, because I know that probably hits them quite hard. But as I said earlier in the show, there's always a bright side, and the majors aren't everything. Obviously, financially they're a huge benefit, but the majors aren't anything, and Gamer Legion are. I think they're still like rank 12 or 11 in the world, so they're going to keep getting invites if they keep performing on LAN events, regardless of what happens at the major. So good luck to them, and yeah, they played really well this week. So hopefully they silenced a few of the people who gave them shit for not qualifying for the major, because I mean, the majors just being an online qualifier is a joke to me, but I understand the reasons why, so it is what it is. But I think Valve should be putting up the money to play that on LAN. I don't see how they can justify putting the major qualifiers online in this day and age. But hey, it is what it is. Everyone has the same conditions to some degree. As in playing online. Obviously not everyone has the same conditions, different PCs, different monitors, different ping. There's lots of issues with online, but online CS is online CS at the end of the day. It is what it is. But I don't think the MRQs should be played online at all. So that was a bit unfortunate. Elsewhere, Mouse did what Mouse do. They qualified. Mongols qualified after beating FaZe in those 2 close games. Vitality doing what Vitality do. They win and qualify. Falcons obviously having a good tournament as well. And this was Na'Vi had a rough week, definitely. I mean, losing first map to Miba, did the rest of it okay. Going pretty close. I mean, they were 11-3 up or something, 11 something up, and then they lost 24 of the next 27 rounds, or 23 of the next 27 rounds. Na'Vi could have easily been playoff contenders, and then they had to go down and play FlyQuest, where they lost the second map to FlyQuest. Sorry, and they weren't dominant in the other maps either. So like this was probably too close for them for their comfort. And then obviously losing to Liquid in the end as well. I think Na'Vi had a rough week. Could have easily been top 2 in their group and ended up not qualifying. So Na'Vi are probably under a bit of pressure these days, but I'm sure they'll bounce back. They've got the right people to help them with that. Elsewhere, FlyQuest beat Virtus Pro, as we talked about earlier, and then VP fired their coach immediately after, before he's even flown home. So he's got a 20-something hour flight to think about. Hopefully he's not sat next to his teammates, because that would be unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, that's Melbourne so far. Playoff bracket is looking pretty. I mean, I think Vitality are pretty much assured a final here. I don't see Liquid or Mongols giving them any trouble at all. Falcons versus Gamer Legion is a banger matchup. I think Gamer Legion are going to give them a really good game, but I think Falcons will still win. And then Falcons versus Mouse is going to be a really good semi-final, I think, if that's how it works out. I mean, even Gamer Legion Mouse, they played each other in the group stage, right? It was a pretty close game on Nuke, at least. So Gamer Legion versus Mouse could be interesting. But I think if the Falcons make it through to play Mouse, I think that's going to be a really good best of 3. And then, yeah, I mean, we're going to get another Mouse and Vitality final, maybe a Vitality Falcons final. That would be quite good after this game as well. So there's lots of good rematches potentially in the grand final, which will be interesting to see. So wishing good luck to all the teams who are going to be playing that. And yeah, we're going to be flying out in a few hours. It's 11. It's 11:15 here, or 11:20. So we're flying out in like another. Flying in like 9 p.m. but we're leaving the hotel at 6 p.m. I think. So yeah, I think we're about done with most of the stuff, guys. Happy to have any questions that you guys may have, just quickly, and then we will wrap it up. And I will. Here we go. So I'll just cover this one off. Why can't they just use their passport and not visa? So if you have a visa or you've applied for a visa, you cannot enter the US in any other way. You have to enter on that US. So for example, like JT has a Portuguese passport, which he could get an ESTA for and enter the US, but because he has a P1 on his South African passport, he has to enter on his P1 on his South African passport. So there's no option for him to go around with it, the other way. So yeah. Any others? Are you going to take over as the coach long term? No. Hopefully I'm done now. I'm making it my goal to make sure we have at least a how do I propose this? At least a temporary head coach in place for the major. So not someone necessarily that we've signed long term. It could well be someone that we may want to work with long term, but certainly someone who has a lot more tactical depth, tactical understanding, game knowledge, who can help the guys like take timeouts in the right place, identify where there are issues going on, but not that person isn't necessarily going to have the full month of practice with the guys going into the major. So it's not going to be like they're coming in and trying to set their ideals and their kind of game plan in motion. It's going to be more of a far more qualified person to stand behind them during the matches, would be my guess, because we're not looking to, well, we're not in a realistic place where we're going to hire someone within the next 9 days as the long-term coach for the team. So looking in the sort of the short term, what can we do to give ourselves the best chances of success at the major without changing too much. We don't want to bring in a temporary coach who's going to try and change a bunch of stuff leading up to the major, and then bring in the full-time coach after the major going into next season, who's then going to want to try and have their input as well. It's too much sort of back and forth, too much changing. So sort of looking for a softer short-term option, and then probably the long-term option will come in from the second half of the season, so the second half of the year, around July would be my guess, which also gives us the time to do the process properly. So yeah. How much more productive in terms of VRS was this 1-2 result versus whatever the result y'all would have had at Fragadelphia? I mean, we won like 60 something points, 50, 60 something points from beating Pain, and then we lost like 14 and something else from losing to the Mongols. So we're probably like positive 40 something. I mean, it's probably about even, I think, because we don't gain that much from beating any of the teams at Melbourne. We don't gain that much from beating many of the teams in Frag. They only cover the playoffs, which would mean the maximum amount of matches we could win would be 4, and they would be less valuable than the one we won. And losing any match at Frag would be far more detrimental than the 2 matches we lost here, most likely. So it probably works out about even, would be a guess. obviously, you can't base it on the fact that we ended up going 1 and 2 here, because we could have done more. If we'd beaten Gamer Legion, we would have had like another 50 something points, and then it would have easily been more valuable to be at Melbourne. So the potential was definitely there to have a lot more wins. And obviously, if we'd beaten the Mongols, for example, we would have gained 100 points, and then it would have been instantly better than going to frag. So I think it's hard to put it in perspective of, retrospectively, was it better to go to Melbourne than to frag? Because the answer is it would always have been better to go to Melbourne if we win matches, which we came very close to. So yeah, I don't regret the decision. I think if you min-max it based on knowing the result of Melbourne and saying, oh, you could have gone to frag and won 3 or 4 matches, then maybe frag would be worth more. Obviously, good to mention that we wouldn't have gone to frag with our full roster. Hulzek wouldn't have been there, and he's a very integral part of the team. So there's also potential that we'd lose in frag, and you could argue there's double jeopardy, because not only would you lose a lot of points because the teams are they're not worthless, they're worth less value, they have lower ranking. So when you lose a match to a team like that, you lose a lot more points, but you're also losing points essentially to a direct rival, which is never ideal. So I would say the upside of Melbourne definitely outweighs the potential upside of going to frag. And we want to also attend and be at the biggest and best events in the world. I think it wouldn't have been the right decision to go to frag as much as we'd like to, because we do want to support the local scene, and we do want to go to these events where it's possible and where it makes sense for us to go. But we also obviously want to be on the biggest stages in the world and competing for the biggest titles. So when you get the opportunity to do that, it's a non-negotiable for us, really, as long as we can make it work, which we just about did. So yeah, don't regret the decision. Maybe in hindsight, knowing the result we had here, it could have been better to go to frag. But if we just won one more match here, it would have been completely over. So even if we just beat the Mongols in the first match, we would have earned more points than we would have got going to frag. So yeah, definitely the upside of coming to Melbourne is way more significant than the upside of going to frag in regards to the VRS. I mean, that pretty much covers. Blue Magician 35, what are your plans leading up to the major? Just rest and prep, or boot camping? Haven't finalized all of that yet. Still looking into what options we have. We still need to finalize our roster, both sub for Holzerk if we need one, and the coach. So that'll be the next few weeks, or 2 weeks, or 9 days, whatever it is, and then we'll go from there. I know there is a Thunderpick qualifier that potentially we could play. I'm not 100% if we will play that or not, but we may play that, and that would be in North America, and that will take us till like the 17th or 18th of May, and then the week following that is IEM Dallas, where obviously a lot of big teams will be coming over to North America, so there is definitely a justification for staying in North America and just scrimming against the Dallas teams, rather than spending our own money to go all the way over to Europe to scrim the teams that are not in Dallas. And then we're a week from the major, so there is a potential that there is no time or necessity to go for a boot camp, which maybe seems a bit weird, but yeah, we'll have to see. There's obviously a weird scenario of circumstances here, but yeah, we're still finalizing all the plans. But potential we play Thunderpick, potential that we don't boot camp, and then just go straight into the major, having practiced European teams in North America. So we will see. Anything else? I think that's about it. Yeah, I mean, I'm scrolling up now. I'm not seeing any major questions that I've missed. Okay, I got that one again afterwards. Yeah, I mean, that's about it for this week. Okay, I'll answer this. Any chance of picking up JKS? I think that's very unlikely for two reasons. One, we're very happy with the team we have, and two, I don't think he would be interested. And I guess three, I mean, we've obviously had JKS in the past. He's a, we love Justin. He's a friend of the team, a friend of the family, so to speak. But yeah, one we're not looking to make roster changes. Certainly not ones that change our region, which getting Justin would do. And two, I highly doubt he would have any interest in playing on a North American team anyway. So I imagine he will end up either on another European team or maybe going to an Australian team. But yeah, I have no idea in truth what he's up to or what his plans are or what his situation is. So yeah. Cool. Right, I'm going to end it there. I've got to check out of this hotel room in like half an hour. So yeah, I've got to do some packing. As you can tell, I haven't fully packed everything. So that's on my dirty gym. Actually, no, clean gym clothes. We'll give a quick shout out to ESL here. This hotel is like half hotel, half apartment. I don't know if you can see, but I've got like a kitchen as well. And each hotel room has its own laundry. We have our own washing machine in our hotel room, so everyone's been able to do laundry, especially the guys who have traveled for 14 days or whatever it is, considering that they were planning to go home after the MRQ before they went to Frag, and obviously we ended up going straight from the MRQ to Melbourne. Really good that they've had the opportunity to do some laundry. I've managed to have clean clothes for all my gym days, which has been nice. So shout out to ESL. This is one of the best hotels we've actually been in, and it has a lot of the amenities that are really helpful when we're traveling. So that's been really nice. I don't know if you know, but this is my living room. My hotel room literally has a living room. That's my living room's TV. I have another TV in my bedroom. I have two TVs in this hotel room, and every single room is like this. Like they're like all mini suites. It's a really nice hotel. So yeah, shout out to ESL for picking this hotel. It's directly opposite the one we used for Melbourne the last time we came, which was also a very nice hotel. So yeah, been very, very enjoyable being here for the last few days. Sad that it's ending so soon, but that's life. I'm sure my wife will be happy once I get home and can sleep in my own bed. So it's not all bad. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Sorry about the impromptu time and location. We will be back to normal service next week, I think, because I don't think I've got... Okay, well, so... Interesting point. I am having a vasectomy next week on Wednesday, which is the same day that we do the show. The vasectomy will be happening around about 6 hours before we go live with the show. So I'm not going to commit to anything just because I will have had local anesthetic surgery that day. But I do plan to do the show on time as usual, even if my balls are a bit tingly and I'm on some painkillers. So we will we will have to see. But as of right now, let's assume the plan is to do the show as normal, and if I'm not feeling 100%, I won't do it. But yeah, it's a local anesthetic procedure. I'm awake during the whole thing. It takes like 10 minutes, he said. So I'm just gonna have a bit of sore balls for the rest of the week, and that's about it. So should be fine. Shouldn't be anything to worry about. But whether I want to sit down for prolonged periods of time, I don't know. As far as I'm aware, the only thing he told me was I'm not allowed to ride a bike for 10 days, and I'm not allowed to go swimming for a few days until the stitches heal up, and no like running. So I think sitting down is fine. So yeah, we will see. But just putting that caveat out there so everyone's fully aware. Well, I don't know why you need to be fully aware that I'm having a vasectomy, but I'm having a vasectomy and it's on the same day. So it is what it is. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week, and safe travels to me because I'm leaving Australia in a few hours, and I hope you guys are having a great day. I know it's extremely early in Denmark in Europe right now. So I guess this is mostly for the US team. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back at normal time next week. So that will be 9 p.m. European, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That'll be the goal. So yeah, thanks everyone, and see you guys next week.